Good morning. It's good to see you. You are putting up with me today, and I have the honor of starting this series. Pastor Christy was working on her doctoral work and at our alma mater in Marion, Indiana, at Indiana Wesleyan. Whoop, whoop. You guys are alumni too? Great. I didn't know we had so many alumni here. So, good. So Pastor Christy talked about 301. So I was watching that video, and this morning, if you were a part of our dream team, I took you through a wide range. We have a pre-rally at 9:40. If you are a part of the dream team, we asked that everyone be here at 9:40 and just kind of have some fun. Then we pray together. But we watched commercials this morning, and I feel like I had people laughing, crying, rejoicing. It was all the emotions in 5 commercials, and so that was a lot of fun. So we do start a new series called Emotions. So what I want to do is I want to start with this. How are you doing today? All right? I mean, like, really, like, how are you doing? If I ask you to describe your emotional state in one word, what would it be? And so some of you would maybe say, well, I'm tired. Like, that's probably a lot of us. Like, I'm tired. Clearly, like, half our crowd was tired today. So others might say, I'm anxious. Maybe some of you would say, well, I'm irritated or overwhelmed, or maybe you would even say to yourself, I'm feeling numb. And isn't it interesting, even based off of this morning, watching videos, how quickly our emotions can swing. Like, one moment you're fine, right? I mean, I'm fine, everything's good. But then, on your way to an appointment that you're already a couple of minutes behind, someone cuts you off in traffic. Whew. Emotions swing. Or your kid, for those of you with young children, spills milk, not juice, milk in the back seat. Or your boss sends that email. And suddenly, you're in like a whole new world. I mean, you just went from, I'm having a really good day, to I feel like I could murder right now. So we live in this world that is tugging on our emotions. I mean, all the time. We have economic uncertainty. We have racial tension. We have political division, and this unending, constant 24-hour news cycle. And in the middle of it, you and I are left wondering, where is God when I hurt? Like, where is God when I feel anxious or unsettled or afraid? And that's exactly where I want us to go today. And here's the good news. You're not alone in your emotions. Jesus himself felt emotions. He wasn't like this stone-faced robot floating above humanity, like never walking, never feeling. He felt deeply. He laughed, he cried, he got angry, he celebrated. For those of you that have watched The Chosen, it's not like a plug for The Chosen, but one of the most enlightening things about watching that television show, which maybe it is a little bit of a plug, I would encourage you to watch it, is the fact that you get to see Jesus's raw emotions. Like, I even like sometimes where they play him out where he'll just say, I'm just kidding, right? Because I feel like that's how Jesus was. He was a real person that brings us humanity. One study actually says that Jesus expressed 39, not like 9, not 30, but 39 different emotions in the Gospels. 39. I didn't even know there was 39 emotions until I started raising teenagers. And come on, parents, like you know it, right? When you're raising teenagers, you know there are 39 emotions and then some. And today, I want to show you a moment, just a glimmer of where his emotions meet someone else's pain. And in that moment, I think we will find the answer, where is God when I hurt? So let's do a quick survey of the emotions of Jesus. I mean, when Jesus was looking over Jerusalem and he saw that the people of God rejected God, he grieved. When the religious leaders cared more about rules than people, he got angry. When his 72 followers came back celebrating all that God had done through them and the ways that God had used them, Scripture says that he was overjoyed. He's rejoicing. When his friend Lazarus dies, he wept with sadness. And the night before he was crucified, he was so deeply discouraged, lonely, and in spiritual agony that he actually sweat drops of blood. So when you feel grief, when you feel anger, when you feel joy, when you feel sadness, when you feel crushed in your spirit, understand that Jesus has been there. Hebrews chapter 4, verse 15 says this, "For we do not have a high priest who is unable to empathize with our weakness, but we have one who has been tempted in every way, just as we are, you and I are, and yet he did not sin." And so I love that word, empathize. It means that he doesn't just know about it. He's not like, well, I know about your emotions. I have sympathy for you. No, he lived it. He gets it. And so what would that mean for you and I as human beings trying to walk this thing called life? It means that when we're hurting, we don't just have a God who tells us like, hey, like, remember Dad? Suck it up, right? Any other dads in the room that's your parenting style? Yeah, that was it's a Gen X. That's a bunch of millennials. Suck it up. Rub a little dirt on it, right? We don't have a God that says that. We have a God who says, I understand. A God who feels what we feel. A God who meets us in our emotions with compassion. And in Luke chapter 7, we see this compassion on full display in one of the most tender and gut-wrenching moments in the life of Jesus' ministry. Luke chapter 7 and verses 11 through 12, and we're going to kind of land and kind of hover here throughout the day. Soon afterward, Jesus went to a town called Nain. Everyone say Nain. Nain. Let's say it again. Nain. It's just a nasal word right there. I don't know. And his disciples and a large crowd went along with him. As he approached the town gate, a dead person was being carried out. The only son, circle that word only, the only son of his mother, and to top it off, she was a widow. And a large crowd from the town was with her. So picture the scene, right? Jesus had just finished teaching. A big crowd is following him because that's what happens when Jesus teaches. They're curious and maybe even a little bit excited. They're walking towards this village of what? Nain. There we go. At the same time, another crowd is walking out. Two different emotions. We have the excitement of Jesus' teaching, and we have the sadness and grieving of the crowd coming out. It's a funeral procession. And in that culture, funerals would have happened quickly. Like there's no embalming, there's no funeral home, there's no like 5-day waiting period trying to figure things out, and there's none of that. Usually, because of the heat, because of the climate, a body was buried the same day. So this is fresh, raw grief. And at the center of this process... At the center of this procession is a woman, a widow. She's already lost her husband, and now her only son has died. We don't know how old he is. Maybe it was a child, maybe it was a young man. We've got no context. But here's what we do know. The entire world of this woman has just collapsed. I mean, imagine the heartbreak for just a moment. First, she had to bury her husband at some point, and now she's walking behind a coffin, let's say, of her son. In that moment, she's not only grieving, but she's also facing a terrifying future. Because in that society, women had almost no way to provide for themselves. With no husband, no son, she was utterly alone, and her hope was seemingly gone. And Jesus walks right into that scene. Continuing on in verse 13. It says, when the Lord saw her, his heart went out to her. And he says to her, don't cry. I love that. The Lord saw her. It doesn't say that he saw the crowd. It doesn't say that he saw the commotion. He didn't see I've lost the weepers. What are they called? Help me out here. The people that cry. The grievers? That's not right. Help me out. That's the word. You feel me? There's people that you would hire to cry. I think that's the word, the mourners. You know, why I forgot that, I have no idea. But he saw her. That's who he saw. And that's where we're going to pause today. Because what Jesus does next is going to show us the heart of God when we hurt. So I want us to sit in this moment. When the Lord saw her, his heart went out to her, and he said, don't cry. So if you've got like an old school Bible, you know, paper, that we have, paper. Or if you're using your phone, you can just tap this word and it will highlight for you. But I want you to circle or highlight that phrase, the Lord saw her. Over 40 times in the Gospels, it says that Jesus saw somebody. Now, let's be honest. I mean, Jesus had eyes, right? I mean, so of course he saw people. He saw everyone that was around him. Sometimes he saw people that he didn't see with his eyes, like the lady that touches the hem of his garment, who touched me, that whole story. Look it up. It's a fun one. But this isn't just about eyesight. This is about noticing someone. It's about paying attention. There's a difference between looking and seeing, right? I mean, you can look at something all day and not see it. Husbands, are you with me? Are you following me? Like you get it. Because she comes in, right? The wife comes in with a haircut. Shorter, layered, maybe even some highlights. And you're just nodding along. Uh-huh. Yeah. And then she says these words, well, what do you think? And immediately you go in panic mode. She changed something. And you're looking like everywhere like, okay, she still has 10 fingers. Okay, I can't see the toes. She's got shoes. Are those new shoes? I don't know. Is that new clothes? I don't know, right? Because I've been married long enough to understand that my wife doesn't want me just to look at her. My wife wants me to see her, right? And there's a difference. Jesus doesn't just glance at the crowd or the woman and move on. He sees the woman. He notices her pain and he feels her grief. Now let's get real practical for just a moment, because somebody here needs to hear this today. God sees you. He doesn't just notice you. He doesn't just look at you. He sees you. He sees the mom who cries herself to sleep because she doesn't know how to reach her teenager. He sees the dad who's working 2 jobs and still feels like he doesn't and can't get ahead. He sees the college student or the high school student who looks fine on Instagram but is empty inside. He sees the widow or the widower who eats alone at the kitchen table. God sees you. And here's the kicker. When God sees you, he doesn't just see you as a problem to solve. He sees you as a person to love. And that changes everything. Now, you may be thinking like, well, I don't feel seen. Like, I don't think he sees me. If I could be real with you, sometimes we don't feel seen because we're too busy comparing ourselves to everybody else. We're scrolling through social media thinking God must be blessing everyone else, but leaving me out. They've got the job. They've got the house. They've got the spouse. How you like those rhymes? But just because you don't feel noticed doesn't mean God hasn't noticed you. He's got his eyes on you. Scripture says this, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. That's his promise. He sees you, he notices you, and he cares for you. Now, I want to look again at what Jesus felt when he saw her. So let's go back to that verse. When the Lord saw her, his heart went out to her, and he said, "Don't cry." Now, that phrase, his heart went out to her, is a little too polite for the original Greek because the Greek word says splagnizomeia. Splagnizomeia. Everyone? Splagnizomeia. Yeah. It sounds more like you're putting your fingers down the back of your throat and you're like splagna, right? I mean, it's like, what is that word? And that's actually kind of what the word means. It's actually the general idea of splagnizomeia. It actually refers to your intestines. It's gross, I know. But it means you're moved so deeply that your guts actually twist up inside. It is the strongest word for compassion that you can find in the New Testament. I mean, think about it. Have you ever gotten a phone call in the middle of the night? I've gotten a few of those phone calls. You know, Dad died, so-and-so passed away. And immediately, everything inside of you turns upside down. Or maybe you drive by one of those really horrific car accidents. And you look, and you don't know the situation, you don't know the individual, but immediately everything inside of you kind of turns upside down. That's the idea. That's the Greek word that the author is using here. Splagnizomeia. Everything inside of me is gut-wrenching, can't stand it, hurts me to my core kind of compassion. And here's the hope for you and me. That's the same way he feels about us when we're in pain. When our heart breaks, his gut twists. When you can't sleep at night because of the anxiety overwhelming you, his chest tightens. When you're overwhelmed and you don't know how to move forward, he feels it deep in his being. Some of you walked in here today thinking God doesn't care. Or maybe he cares about the big stuff, right? Wars, disasters, maybe even the stock market, but not your little stuff. But hear me, if it matters to you, it matters to him. 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 7 says this, cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you deeply. Notice it doesn't just say like cast some of your anxiety, cast only the important anxieties. It says cast all. Everyone say all. all of your anxieties. Cast all of your anxiety on him. That means the bills that you're worried about, the diagnosis that you're waiting on, the marriage that feels fragile, the kid that's drifting, all of it. Here's what I want to make it practical. Grab a sticky note, like today at some point. Grab a piece of paper. Write down one thing that's been eating at you, one thing that in your gut gives you knots, and then put it somewhere visible. Maybe on your mirror, on your dashboard, and every time you see it, say out loud, Jesus, I'm casting this on you because you care for me. Because sometimes we need that kind of physical reminder that our God isn't distant, isn't some far-off God that doesn't care. He doesn't notice from a distance. No, he feels it with us. That's splagna. That's the compassion of Christ. Well, let's see what happens next. In verse 14, chapter 7, it says, Then he went up and he touched the bier where they were carrying him on. And the bearers stood still. And he says, Young man, I say to you, get up. Now, I just want to hold up right there because this should be shocking. And not just in a, like, someone coming back from the dead shocking. Because it was shocking well before that. There are 613 religious laws of Moses. One of them says don't touch a dead body or anything a dead body has touched, or you will be ceremonially unclean. So the moment that Jesus reached out and touched that, the gasp would have started happening among all the people around. His disciples have been like, no. Oh. It was scandalous. The religious leaders have been like, no. Don't cross that line. But here's the truth about Jesus. He's always crossing lines that religion drew. Every time religion says stay back, Jesus steps forward. Why? Because he loves crossing lines. There's this distorted view that religion draws lines to keep people out, but Jesus crosses lines to draw people in. And if I could preach to you for just a moment, some of you have turned away from the church at some point in your life because you felt like all the church cared about was rules and appearances. And if that's the church that you ran into, let me tell you, Jesus didn't like it either. He didn't come to draw lines to keep people out. He came to extend love that draws people in. So when Jesus touches that coffin, he's saying, I care more about this mom's heartbreak than I care about keeping the rules. And maybe you've wondered, have I crossed a line that keeps me from Jesus? Have I gone too far? Have I done too much? Am I too unclean? And I would say, church, hear me. There's no line, there's no rule, there's no past mistake that can keep Jesus from stepping toward you. He loves crossing every line. Now watch what happens. Verse 15, the dead man sat up and began to talk. And Jesus gave him back to his mother. Again, I don't know, it's like a little child. I mean, old enough to talk, right? And it's a man. So picture the crowd. Like, I love it. He reaches out, and people are like, oh, he touched a dead body. And then he says those words like, hey, buddy, get up. And then like that first breath, because in my mind, it's not like a just casually breathing again. It's like if you had that moment where, you know, coming up from out of the pool, you've dived down, you've been down there you come up and you're like, oh, that's what I imagine. When someone comes back to life, that's what I imagine. And so he's like, oh, and then everyone else is like, oh, people are fainting everywhere. I mean, the whole scene is like chaos at this point. And suddenly, this funeral becomes a family reunion. And what did it take? Just one touch. Just one touch. The one touch didn't just give the boy his life back. It gave that mother her hope back. Because without him, remember, without her husband, without the young son, her future looked hopeless. And Jesus didn't just restore her child, he restored her tomorrow. And that's what Jesus does. He doesn't just bring back life, he brings us hope. And some of you need hope today. You feel like you've lost too much. You've buried too many dreams. You've given up on too many prayers. But Jesus is the one who sees you, who cares for you, who touches your life, and who hands hope back to you. So I want you to think about this. What is in your coffin? What if your life feels dead, gone, buried? Is it your marriage, your joy, your faith? If Jesus can raise this boy back from the dead with just one touch, what could he do in your situation if you let him? And so I'll say it again. Just one touch. I'm going to invite our worship team to come on forward. We've walked through a powerful moment today. A grieving mom carrying the weight of loss. A crowd marching in despair. And then Jesus steps in. He sees, he cares, he touches, and with just one touch, he brings life back where there was only death. And so back to us here today. I started with a question to describe your emotional state in one word. Maybe for you it was anxious. Maybe it was overwhelmed. Maybe it was tired. Here's the truth that I want to leave you with today. Jesus sees you. He notices you. His compassion for you is splagna. It is gut level. And with just one touch, he can bring back life. He can bring back hope to what feels dead, gone, and buried. And so I want us to move into a moment of response. Heads bowed, eyes closed. There's one thing to hear about Jesus' compassion. It's another thing to actually experience. Some of you are here today and you're carrying heavy things. It might be a marriage that feels like it's hanging by a thread. It might be a diagnosis that has shaken you. It might be a child who's wandering and you don't know how to pull them back in. It might be some bills that keep piling up, or a depression that won't seem to lift. Whatever it is, you don't have to carry it alone. 1 Peter chapter 5 says, cast your anxiety on him because he cares for you. So here's my invitation to you today. If you're carrying something heavy today, I want you to come. I don't want you to lay it down at the feet of Jesus. Think of it this way. Imagine if that widow had tried to carry her son's coffin all by herself. It is impossible for her to do. And yet some of us have come to church every week, including today, carrying our own spiritual coffins, our dead weight on our shoulders. And Jesus is saying to you today, let me touch that and let me carry that. So I'm going to ask you to respond. In just a moment, we're going to pray. I'm going to invite you to step out of your seat and come to the altar and kneel and pray. Don't worry about who's watching. Don't worry about what people will think, because this is between you and Jesus. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply say, Lord, I need your touch. So I want to invite you to come forward in this moment to bring your spiritual coffins of emotions, the heaviness, the fear, the grief, the anxiety, and I want you to physically, literally, and symbolically lay it down at the feet of Jesus, just like that woman's son was carried out on the coffin. Some of you have been carrying around this coffin of emotions. It's heavy, it's exhausting, and you weren't meant to carry it alone, and today is your day to hand it over. So as the worship team begins to play, don't stay where you are, but come to the altar. Bring your burden to Jesus. He sees you. He notices you. He cares for you. And one touch can bring it back to life. Will you come now?